Welcome back everyone, I'm Danny the Dinosaur Drawer, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to draw the level 40 Baryonyx from Jurassic World the game. So yeah, today is day 19 of our dinosaur drawing marathon, so get out your paper, pencil, and eraser and we'll get started. So we're going to put in a little bit of an outline like we usually do. The snout is going to be facing to the right, so we might as well put in that first. The mouth will be slightly opened like so. This is sort of like almost like a front-on view, but sort of maybe more like a three-quarter view. Because we have the body right about here. We're not going to see much of the tail. The tail is literally like just pointed out straight, so you don't see much of it. Put in the eye right there. Then we're going to have two little circles there to represent the shoulders. Baryonyx is in the family of Spinosaurus and therefore has larger arms. Okay, let's put in the claws and fingers there. Now let's put in the leg. The hip is going to be up here. It's going to have a long thigh. That's where the foot will be. I might make it a little bit shorter because the knee is bent. And now let's see, the other foot, or the other leg is going to be bent. And the foot is going to be a little bit more forward, right about there. Again, I might tweak a few things later on in the video. But overall, I think the proportions look right. We're going to put a lot of spikes on this dinosaur because Baryonyx level 40 is just crazy. It's got so many spikes. But yes, I think we're ready to move on to the next stage. So all those of you who are left-handed are in luck because today we're going to be working from right to left. So yeah, let's start off with the head first. We're going to put a little bit of the eye in right now. I'll put in the pupil. And by the way guys, I ran out of my nice paper and today I'm using a watercolor sketchbook, so it might not turn out as well, but yeah, it's better than nothing. Just right away put in that eye socket. We're going to have a high brow ridge. Let's continue this line along the long crocodilian-like snout, which curves down at this point. Then it's going to curve back up, then back down. Let's put the back of the head in right now. There is a small cavity back here, but it's not too noticeable. Then of course there's that main cavity in the side of the head, which also has some more shading. Then this next cavity is actually where the nose is. So put like a little almond shape there for the nose, for the nostril. And yeah, I might add scales and stuff later, but I think we're almost done with the top jaw. Let's add some wrinkles around the eye here. And then we have to put in the spikes, we can't leave those out. So the neck is going to attach right about here. But actually on the head there are 3 main spikes. So put those in. And then back here the spikes begin on the neck. But we'll do that later. And then, yeah, the teeth actually start pretty far out onto the snout. And they start off small, then get larger and larger. And I would recommend, I'm actually going to erase these 3 teeth. Since we are going to be drawing some of the other side of the jaw, I recommend you draw these teeth a little larger, because when you put black around the teeth, it oftentimes makes them look much smaller than you wanted them to look. Let's make the teeth look really big here at the end of the snout. Like so. Then we'll continue the other side of the jaw, carefully maneuvering in between the teeth. Like so. And then let's see, I have a shading pencil with me today. Well, I have several actually, but we're going to start off with a 6B pencil, which is quite dark. Probably should have sharpened this before the video because it's very dull. So I might switch out to something else. It's a little bit better. Let's see, I think I will probably use a 3B instead. So there we go. I'm glad we made the teeth look a little bit bigger, because the blackness does make them look smaller. Okay, now we can add the teeth on the other side. So go ahead and do that. Now these you can make regular sized. In fact, make them a little bit smaller because they are a little bit farther away. So that's pretty good. It's got a whole mouthful there. Now I'm going to put in that muscle that opens and closes the jaw. It's going to have a lot of vertical lines to show the graininess of that muscle. And then now we can begin the bottom jaw. So the lower jaw does have a little bit of a curve where it goes a little bit thicker, because it actually fits perfectly with the top jaw. So because of the angle, the head is sort of tilted back, you know, so we are going to be seeing some of the lower part of the bottom jaw and some of the neck where it attaches. And we might actually put in the spikes first, so these lines won't get in the way. So it has a lot of cool spikes on the lower jaw. So we'll put these in. It's got them on both sides and on the very bottom. So it's got a few right here on the bottom. This is very classic of Ludia. They love doing that with level 40 creatures. So this line I'm drawing right now will show this side of the lower jaw, but we are going to see some of the other side of the lower jaw. We'll see the spikes on that side as well. And the neck will come into play right about here. It's a little bit complicated, but yeah, it looks fine. Baryonyx has a thick neck. It's pretty long. Comes right about there. And right on the side of the neck, it's got these really, really long, pointy spikes, which we will put in. These ones a little bit thinner, just don't make them too thick. I mean, yeah, this would be super deadly to any other dinosaur that's going to try and bite it from the side of the neck. Now we got to carefully maneuver this neckline in between those spikes. And then, yet again, put some more spikes on the very top of the neck. These ones are going to get small and almost disappear, but then they get big again as we get closer to the back, where the back has like the largest spikes on the entire dinosaur. And before I forget, let's add the teeth to the bottom jaw. So these teeth will be a little bit smaller. But it'll get large at the end of the lower jaw. And then we will see a little bit of the tongue, so we can put that in. I'll shade in the other side of this muscle. Maybe add a little bit of shading to the tongue there. And speaking of shading, I might add some, well, you don't really need to, but I'm going to add some shading underneath the lower jaw. In the reference image it doesn't really look that dark, but that makes it look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so let's move on. We can put some more vertical curvy lines for the neck here. It's going to have a vein coming from the upper jaw. It'll come right about here to the shoulder. So it's got a large deltoid. That is the shoulder muscle. Because unlike T-Rex, it actually has decent sized arms. So maybe just add a few more long, light lines on the bottom of the neck just to show the shape before we move on to the shoulder. The shoulder is quite round. But here we're going to have the upper arm, which is quite short and it has a bunch of spikes coming out the back, and a little bit on the elbow and back of the forearm. The forearm will be a little bit longer. And these claws are going to be curved. They're going to be curved back like so, so they're sort of folded. But an alternative would just be to draw it differently than the one in the reference image, which I think I might do, because I'm not happy with how that looked. So I'm just going to draw my own version and make the hands a little bit spread out. I think I like how that looks a little bit better. So Baryonyx does have an extremely long index finger claw, which is used to like capture fish, you know. So it's very important to make that claw a little bit bigger than the other two. And here we can add some scales on top of the fingers. Like so. So yeah, Baryonyx has like a ton of health. It's got like 4,788, I think. It's a very powerful dinosaur once you get it to level 40. Of course, this is like a special Baryonyx. I don't really remember seeing this Baryonyx when you get it to level 40. This like extreme spiky Baryonyx, you know. I'm used to like the Baryonyx that turned into that hybrid, I forget the name of it. It was sort of like a brownish color. And maybe that I never got Baryonyx to level 40 in the game, but yeah, I don't remember it being so colorful. Because it's like a really light blue color in this reference image. Just add in the chest right here. Then the opposite shoulder. And then we'll put in the opposite upper arm and forearm. And here we can put in the fingers and claws. And we'll put on those scales on top of the fingers, so don't make the scales go all the way around. It may appear like they go all the way around on this hand, but they actually don't. They're only on the top. I'll add a little bit of shading to those claws. And guys, I am going to probably put scales on this dinosaur. I'm just going to do that while it's time-lapsed, otherwise this tutorial would end up being like over an hour long. Okay, so the body doesn't have, like the main torso does not have too much detail. It's got a round stomach here. It's got a lot more muscle up here on the shoulders, which shows it probably spends like a lot of time on all fours. So it has to have a lot of muscle to support its weight on its front limbs. So I think we'll put in the feet and legs next. Just going to erase some of this outline. So we're going to see only a little bit of this back leg. I'm mostly going to see just the ankle and foot. So put in the heel. And unfortunately the heel does not have any spikes, even at level 40. So I'm just going to add a few for my drawing. You don't have to. I'm just telling you guys that it doesn't have spikes. So for those of you who actually want to draw the one from the game, you shouldn't put spikes on its heel. But I'm just going to add some spikes on the heel of my drawing. Okay, so next let's add the toes. It's going to have thick feet. Put in that claw The next toe is going to be the longest one. And draw it so like the claws are not actually touching the ground, but like elevated a little bit higher. So I'll put it in the ground right now. The other foot will be a little bit further out on the ground here. So I'll have to leave some room for that. Then we're also going to add scales on top of these toes. There is a third toe behind these two, but you can't see it from this angle. So don't worry about drawing it. Add some scales here. This area might be a little bit more shaded. So yeah, Baryonyx is quite low to the ground in this picture. So don't worry if it looks like it's a little bit too stocky, because that's how it actually looks. Then I'm actually going to move its body a little bit longer, so right about there, and move this leg back. So it's very important to draw lightly when you're doing your outline. So in case you want to change something, you can erase it, and it won't leave any deep marks. So next I'm going to put in the back leg. Put in the knee right about there. You can't really tell that well, like in my drawing, but this knee is really bent, so it's going to make this lower leg look quite short, you know, short and thick, but it's just because it's bent backwards. And here's where we're going to put in the other foot. So I'm actually going to put in the claws first, and then put in the toes. So put that little dew claw in. So I'll move this one back a tiny bit. And move this one a little bit more forward to make it look like it's the longest one, you know. So guys, the thigh has a few cool spikes coming out the side there. So let's put those in. And I did change the leg up a little bit there while you guys were gone. So if you want to go ahead and make it look a little thinner, I just moved the knee up a bit. Just because I thought it made it look a little bit better. So next we're going to tackle the top of the back, the spine. So this place is just going to be completely packed with spikes of all sizes and shapes. It's going to have shorter rows right about here. It's got a few outlying spikes. And here's where the spikes really start to get big. They actually seem to thin up a bit, you know. They get a little skinnier. And here we have the highest row of spikes. These ones are going to be the tallest. So it's even hard to see the top of the back because there's so many spikes. And the spikes behind those spikes, because of course we have to put in the other row. So it's really a jumbled mess of spikes. So but that's pretty good overall. And then next we're going to put in the tail, which won't be that hard to draw necessarily, just the angle's really weird. It goes out like straight back. You have to draw it in a convincing way, you know. So you can sort of tell it's curved here and then curves out here at the end of the tail. And we'll put some spikes on top of this. So I think this stage is complete. And next we will begin putting in scales. And that will be time-lapse. So I'll see you guys at the outro. Okay guys, now that I've added all these scales, it really looks really cool. So now it's time for us to sign our drawing. So I'll do that right over here, put in the date. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's certainly a lot of fun to draw another level 40 dinosaur from Jurassic World the game. If you have any other dinosaurs you'd like me to draw, please leave them in the comments below. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.